What happened with Rashad? He tried to ruin my brand. And Rashad know that. You sold Mr. Biggest and you the biggest this, biggest that. You asking money. I'm not. I don't got smoke with Ian, but band for band, skunking him too. Rashad is really called him B-A-N, ban. All they had to do was leave me alone when I bought the building. He incentivized somebody to come up to, he said, listen, if you go post all these bad things about Aristotle, I will let you be on InvestFest. He also lied on me and said I begged him to come to InvestFest. Then Rashad also lied and said I begged him to get on EYL podcast. Telling me they come with me because Trap didn't f me back in the day. Then they want to f me now. Trap, you was blackball me back in the day. Then gonna try to call me Young King and saying let's work together today. That's fake, bro.
Aristotle calls out EYL and Wall Street Trapper. Accusations of blackballing and hating are going on in the financial literacy world. And man, it really gives insight into an industry that seems to prioritize pay for play. And how did this all start? Well, Aristotle is a big figure in the investment space. So is Earn Your Leisure and Wall Street Trapper. Over the last few years, really ever since the pandemic, all of these men have been navigating the space. Well, they've crossed paths several times and wires got crossed, manipulation occurred. Now everything is being reconciled. So Aristotle was a guest on Earn Your Leisure a while back. They were cool, but then things started to go bad behind the scenes. It eventually ended up with Wall Street Trapper being involved, but we'll get into Wall Street Trapper later. So what Aristotle says is that he bought the Legacy Center, which was part of the real estate fund owned by the controversial Jay Morrison, who had the real estate fund, the Tusa real estate fund that people say didn't get handled appropriately. Funds were misappropriated. That's what the allegations were. I'm not saying that, I'm just going off what allegedly was said. And as a result, the Legacy Center came up for sale. Well, Aristotle would buy the Legacy Center for a few million. And he says when that happened, the Earn Your Leisure guys started to engage in some type of blackballing, some type of campaign to get information. I mean, he said it on his Instagram Live. I am not making that accusation. Aristotle started to fire back on his IG Live, saying that Earn Your Leisure are essentially snakish. They are trying to stop him from being successful. And he says that the whole industry is filled with people trying to do the same. He even hints that Earn Your Leisure, well, specifically Rashad, that's one thing we have to get back to. Rashad is the issue. It's not necessarily Troy. It's not necessarily Ian. And that makes sense because if you listen to all of this back and forth, Troy is rarely ever mentioned. Ever. Even on those rants that happened on EYL.
Everybody copied us. If they got a stock show, they copy. If they went to another continent, they copied us. These are the same people that'll ask you for help and then say, no, I'm self-made.
Or won't repay their loan back from 3 years ago. Send my money back, bro.
The main person ranting is always Rashad. Sure, Ian likes to chime in, but he doesn't really do much of the aggressive parts. Rashad is pulling the strings, it looks like. And I do wonder, as time goes on, if Troy will grow tired of these random outbursts.
When I wear the custom terry cloth with the very rare Pradas, and I know it's making people sick to their stomach. They're going to have Pepto-Bismol. That's why they say, like, yo, you're going too far. I said, I'm not going far enough.
You think I care about you two? You're dead. Boy, everybody taking the beef angle until you get slapped like a...
I see you, I'm going to say something.
Love the losers.
First, another thing Aristotle mentions is the idea that Earn Your Leisure has to split their money multiple ways, which is something we also got to watch. Like Aristotle, Wall Street Trapper, both of them guys have their own platform, so they don't got to split money. So we got to watch EYL a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So moving right along, they are beefing over the purchase of the Legacy Center. And if you look at the Legacy Center, it is kind of a strong foothold in Atlanta. But there was also other issues going on with Aristotle where he would target Wall Street Trapper. So this started when Earn Your Leisure would go on their platform and sub diss Wall Street Trapper and apparently Aristotle, with Ian saying that someone needs to pay back their loan.
These are the same people that'll ask you for help and then say, no, I'm self-made.
Or won't repay their loan back from 3 years ago. Send my money back, bro.
And EYL Rashad saying that, hey man, everybody who makes stock shows is copying me. Wall Street Trapper would go on his platform and say, don't be talking about me like that.
Ian, we done talked, bro. On that show, you said I need to pay back my $3 million. I mean, the money I had from 3 years ago. Bro, we just talked on the phone literally just now, and you was like, hey, bro, I ain't say that, dog. When y'all start poking at a man's ego, when y'all start poking at a man's character, that's some dangerous waters. Nobody not copying y'all, bro, and especially not me. Financial literacy should not be beefing with each other.
Yo, it's all love. We could get together. Aristotle would reply on Instagram saying, like, this sounds believable. Wall Street Trapper says one thing to people, and then behind the scenes, he does another. So he'll present like he's self-made. He doesn't need nobody, but then he's asking for loans and stuff like that. I think that's the gist of what he's saying. It's not necessarily what Wall Street is doing, but that's what people might be accusing him of. Aristotle saying, oh, you don't respect me. You're always trying to get crazy with me. And I do think a big theme of the Aristotle portion of this is I feel like he doesn't feel like the rest of the folks respect him because he's younger. And he feels as if as a result of his success, he should be treated a different way. And Rashad, Ian, Troy, and Wall Street Trapper are all older. So they kind of put Aristotle in the box of a young person that's just trying to be a disruptor. And we will have to see how that relationship between Aristotle and Wall Street Trapper does play out, because I do think Aristotle made some good points of how this industry is. Like, when people do you a favor, they think that they have ownership of your success moving forward. Oh, I gave you the interview. Oh, I did this. You should look out for me in a certain way. And when they do that, they expect you to move a certain way as well. I know I've been a part of that, where you ask someone for an interview and they say, you was in my DMs asking for an interview. Well, that's kind of customary things to do when you're a business. So now as people own their own entities, they weaponize normal business-like behavior. Like if TMZ asks someone for an interview, it's going to be TMZ asked for an interview. But if Aristotle or Wall Street Trapper asks for an interview, it could be weaponized later on. Sometimes people just engage with you so they can have something against you. They'll shoot a DM that they can later weaponize to delegitimize your platform, which is what I think is going on here. I think all of these folks have been exchanging communications over the last few years, and as a result, wires got crossed. EYL's mad that, you know, this young upstart, think of Aristotle as like Marlo. Like, oh my God, this guy, he got them off-brand corners we don't care about. Who cares about this dude? He's a young boy, whatever. But then things get shifted. The Legacy Foundation is bought, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, this guy is actually, he's making moves. I ain't see that Legacy Foundation play. I thought we was going to get that. Think of EYL as Avon Barksdale, basically, in this analogy. Rashad and Troy are Avon and Stringer, and, they have different types of approaches, where Avon is being, positioned as Rashad. He's the one that wants to go to war. And then Stringer is Troy. He's like, let's keep it business. Let's just sell in Amsterdam. We just got to keep it cool. And then Wall Street Trapper, I don't know. I can't find the analogy for Wall Street Trapper. But I do know that Wall Street Trapper, I think what they suggested about him is true. It does appear like Wall Street Trapper positions himself differently behind the camera. And it could be a tactic. That's a smart move. Maybe Wall Street Trapper is actually just playing everybody real well, asking for things behind the scenes. And then when people get upset at those requests, say, oh, we could get together. Why are you doing this? Because it does seem like that's what he did on his show. But we will have to see how this goes moving forward. I do think that someone suggested a great idea in my comment section. Why don't y'all do an investment competition? Everybody puts up $10,000, and then we see who grows the money the most in 3 months. Aristotle, $10,000, put it down on your channel. You don't even have to get together. Each of you do content. The investment challenge. Wall Street Trapper. Put $10,000, make a video. Yo, I'm putting $10,000 down, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to grow this more than Aristotle and EYL. Ian, you don't want to make your portfolio public, so show us how the master investor gets down. Troy and Rashad, put $10,000 down. Let's see if you can really grow things. Let's see if you really know how to invest, or if you're just good relationship builders. Like, are you better at managing the egos of the celebrities you talk to get on platforms than you are the money? Because I think the biggest knock against EYL and Ian Dunlop is that they don't really showcase their portfolios, and it seems like they're more of a lifestyle brand than an actual investment apparatus. But let me know what you think. And I want to end this video by saying a lot of people in the comment sections, when I do content about their financial literacy beefs, they say, yo, only in this space does this happen. It doesn't happen nowhere else in business. That is cap-ademics. Are you aware with how cutthroat business is? Are you aware of the founding of Puma and Adidas, the brothers who made sneakers and ended up being at odds with each other?
Adidas and Puma, two of the biggest sports brands in the world. But did you know they were founded by two brothers who became lifelong rivals? But after World War II, the brothers had a major falling out. So bad that each testified against the other in the denazification trials. In 1948, they severed ties for good.
Come on, dog. Business is filled with beef. Facebook versus Spotify. Facebook versus Apple. Twitter versus Facebook. Business by its nature is an animal kingdom where people are trying to be the alpha. Roku versus YouTube. Remember when Roku was beefing with YouTube? Roku was trying to get more fees for YouTube putting YouTube TV on Roku platforms. What YouTube did, they put YouTube TV on the YouTube app and said, oh, you want to do that? Delete YouTube from your library, the biggest app in the world, and see what happens if you can even sell Rokus. This type of stuff just happens every day. And when Aristotle bought the Legacy Foundation, that made everybody kind of think, oh, snap, this dude is moving different. But we will have to see what is Aristotle's long-term plans for the Legacy Foundation. What is the legacy of the Jay Morrison scandal? And we will move forward. Once again, this is me just reporting what I saw. These were hour-long Instagram lives. Earn Your Leisure popped it off when they took some subtle shots. And as a result, it appears like EYL might have been blackballing if you go by what Aristotle said. Now, this is interesting, fascinating dynamics between all of everyone. We're going to have to see, like that Drake line, 10 years from now, where is everybody? Who's going to get caught up in a scandal? Who's going to separate from who? Only time will tell. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon, The Stop. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.
Oh, yeah.